Imagine you take your car to get an oil change. The person working at the car repair shop takes your car and within a minute comes back and tells you that your car is ready, as if the oil in your car has been changed. That feels a bit off, right? Well, the same can happen when we are interacting with digital products or services. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the labor perception bias, what it is, how is it being used, and how can you apply it effectively in an ethical way to design better products for your users. Let's dive in. Imagine that you are trying to import 60,000 contacts into MailChimp. You upload the document, click Next, and within a fraction of a second, the site tells you that the import has completed. What? Really? That was fast. I better check that the import worked correctly. 60,000 contacts. Good luck. Just like with the oil exchange for your car, quicker does not always mean better. Returning to our example of importing 60k contacts, you can improve the experience by slowing things down a bit. Even if the import happens at hyper speed, you want to give the user some time to make sense of what happened. You can add a progress bar that slowly animates within a span of a few seconds to show that you are nearing completion, or you can add some sort of transition screen as a way of indicating progress. Indicating progress also helps with the so-called closure. I discussed closure in another video, link in the description below. Labor perception bias is really about people trusting and valuing products when they see an indication of the underlying work behind it. In general, people don't like to wait, but there are some instances when your users have high expectations of a certain task, such as sending money to someone, paying a bill, or migrating data, or generating a report. This is why displaying a progress screen or labor illusion screen after a critical action can actually help reinforce that confidence needed to instill trust in your product. Hey there, it's me again. It would be of a big help if you could just hit that subscribe button. Subscribing to our channel gives us a clear feedback to keep producing these free resources. Thank you. When you understand labor perception bias, you will start to see its implications everywhere. Spanish banking group BBVA added an animation to its ATMs showing that notes being counted as customers wait for their cash. Or when you send an email to someone, you will actually have, in some email providers, a small banner letting you know that your email is being sent. Another good example is when you use Wise.com. It's a money transfer service. When you send money with Wise, your action is not just put into an activity history, but instead, Wise will show you an animation of your money being processed and transferred before ultimately moving it into the activity list. Now, these transition screens might seem like small interface decorations or putting lipstick on a pig, as it were. But this animation is just not there for the sake of making it look nicer or because the product designers didn't have anything better to do with their time. It is about giving feedback and reinforcing the message that the action you have made is indeed being processed. And this is so important. But the psychology behind the labor perception bias can have a serious impact on your business as well. A well-designed effect can increase your digital product's perceived value by up to 15%. Of course, this percentage and its implications on activation, retention, and revenue depends very much on your type of industry. However, when labor perception bias is applied incorrectly, unethically, it can have serious consequences. For example, the 2016 presidential elections, the New York Times used a live election needle to indicate and convey hard work, but as some users of the site dug into its source code, they found that the needle was just jittering randomly. This movement of the needle applied to the perception of the labor, but it was unethical. Why was this unethical? Well, because it played on fear. They were exploiting this deep-rooted emotion which all of us have. Labor perception bias should be used to reassure users, but not manipulate them. Don't do unethical design. Of course, this was good for business for the New York Times as it amplified uncertainty which in itself led to more engagement on the site, more page views, thus more revenue. So in short, people will value service or product more if they see the underlying work behind it. Label perception bias should be used to reassure and not to manipulate the users. In the description, we provided a link where you can download a checklist and some tips on what to watch out for. That's it. I hope you learned something. You can apply this principle to a myriad of different products, and I would love to read what you actually come up with. So make sure to leave your comments below. Thank you, take care, and I see you in the next video.